Hello. I'm using way too many screens and forms of technology, but I'm going to give it a little bit of time for people to hop on. That way, you're not missing too much as well. And then I'm actually going to turn on another screen so I can see comments as they're coming up because, technology. But for those of you that don't know me, my name is Kristen and this is Unlock Week. So we are going to unlock your zeal for life. And so as much as I have my phone, my laptop, my iPad, I still had to go old school and do it with a notebook just to make sure that I didn't mess up the technology in the process of all this. But hello, ladies, and I'm so glad for you to join me as we unlock our zeal for life. This week is going to be jam-packed with information, and spoiler alert, because I hate when I sign up for these things and people never tell me, at the end of this week I will be launching my group program, so you have the opportunity to join that program if you find that this week has been beneficial to you and you're looking for even more on the back end of it. But again, welcome. My name's Kristen. I'm a passion coach and I help ambitious women that are struggling with balance to create time for their passions so they can be their true self and feel fulfilled. I know that this week is free and I am so happy to do it for you for free. But in order for you to get the most out of it, you also need to take notes. So whether you take that on your phone or your, actual notebook, that's completely up to you. But I do hope that you take notes. Ask questions right after I give this presentation. I'm actually going to stay on a little longer and answer any of your questions. I'll scroll back through the comments, so just throw your questions in, and I'll either answer them as I go or I'll stop at the end and do a formal Q&A. There's also going to be a Q&A thread that gets posted. So for some reason you catch this on the replay, which is totally fine. It'll be up all of this week and probably most of May as well for you to catch the replay. But throw your questions in the Q&A thread that goes up after this as well. And there's also going to be a reflection post as well. So if you got the workbook or you want the workbook, I'll drop the link after this on how to get the workbook. But any reflection that you have from either what I say live or what's in the workbook that you want to share with the group, there's going to be a way for you to post all of that as well. This is 3 days. So yes, it's an unlock week, but I'm coming live for you 3 days. I'll be hopping in, obviously, and connecting with you, commenting, reposting, stuff like that. But Monday, today, 6:30 right now. Wednesday at 6:30 again, Eastern time. And then Friday is going to be earlier, so it'll be at 12:30 Eastern time that I come live. Obviously, always in the afternoon. I'm not coming live midnight, and it's Eastern Standard Time, so convert if you need to. But Wednesday back here, same time, 6:30, and then Friday is earlier at 12:30 that I'll be here. Again, the replays will be live the month. And each day will be complete in and of itself, but it's also going to build on top of each other. So if you want to think of this like a 3-course meal, because I know it's probably dinner time for you, and maybe you're eating as you watch this, but today's like the appetizer. It's going to be an overview. It's going to be, just kind of getting our feet wet and getting used to it. Wednesday is the meat and the potatoes, right? Like the heavy stuff, what you really need, and it's going to be the most jam-packed day of it all. It won't have all the fluffy announcements like I'm doing now. And then Friday is going to be dessert, right? Because you got to end it with a little something sweet and a little something extra. And so Friday's dessert, but again, Wednesday, meat and potatoes, 6:30. So you definitely want to be here for that. And if you're a vegetarian or you don't eat carbs because you're keto friendly, doesn't matter. This is not literal food, but this you do not want to miss at all. I want you guys, obviously, going through this week, I want you to get a sense of my personality. So I am weird, I am quirky, but I promise you, behind all the quirks and all the little corny jokes, and I have jokes that are worse than dad jokes, I hope you guys get a sense of who I am and also can take away the information that I'm sharing as well. So again, if you don't have the workbook, if you signed up after I sent it out around lunchtime, I'll send it out again tonight so you can go ahead and subscribe to that, and I'll probably send it out again like Wednesday morning for anyone that keeps subscribing as the replay goes along as well. Who this is for. So this is for you if you're a woman Hello, Arlene. Hello, Charlene. This is for you if you're a woman. This is for you if you have goals and have dreams. This is for you if you want to actualize those dreams. You want those things to become a reality. This is also for you if you're willing to put in the work to get there. So yes, you might need help with the strategy and you might need tools and techniques, and that's what I'm here for. But if you're willing to work for that next level, then this is for you. This workshop series is not for you, and I'm just going to rip the band-aid off. If you're already perfect, if your ish don't, like this isn't for you. And I'll be real honest with you about that. If you're already perfect, if nothing needs to be better in your life, if everything is just as amazing as it could ever be, then I'll be really honest and tell you this workshop is not for you. If you have one little area that you're looking to tweak, this is probably going to be a great way for you to get some leg room. If you are completely lost and starting at ground zero, this will be a warm up for you, but my group program might not be for you. So again, I'll just be really honest with you. But at any point, if you're like, hey, I have more questions and I don't even want to post it in the Q&A, I don't want to drop a comment, that's totally fine. Just go ahead and message me privately. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, like you name it, I have it. And you can just send me a message privately and I will chat with you and answer any questions that you might have as well. But literally, if you're a woman and you have goals, this workshop series is for you. At some point, you're going to get something out of this, I hope. If you couldn't tell, like I am quirky, like I said, but everything, I'm very also like direct and honest. And please don't take it as me being mean. People who know me personally know that like if I say it, it's because I see your potential and I want you to always push for something a little bit better for the best version of who you are. I'm never going to push you to be someone else. I'm never going to tell you to change who you are. But if I see your potential, I'm always going to encourage it. And I promise you, it's not me being mean. It's me wanting the best for you. It's just a little bit of tough love, and tough love is still love. As well. Big thing that I want to say for you to get out of this is get uncomfortable. Like you need to be, like physically you should be comfortable. I hope you're sitting on your couch or something. But in order to grow in life, in order to move ahead in life, you have to get uncomfortable. If seeds don't burst, hey Angela, thanks for checking in. Yes, Nicole, I do wear makeup. I actually wear makeup. It's a thing. I just haven't done it because it's quarantine, but usually I wear makeup once or twice a week. But yeah, in order to grow, you need to be uncomfortable. If you think about a seed, it not only gets buried underneath some dirt, it also has to burst in order for its roots to develop and for its greens to shoot up, for its fruit to bear. So you need to get uncomfortable. Right now, you're a little seedling. And in order to grow your roots, and in order to shoot up high and see the sun, you've got to, one, be buried and planted, but you're also going to need to grow. So I'm here to give you some water. I hope your friends will bring the sunshine. And that your family will bring the nutrient soil, right? All of it comes together, but it's very important for you to grow. So you're gonna have to get uncomfortable. So couple myths that we're gonna bust, right? So tonight is about a life review because truthfully, your passions are already there. I am not magically handing over a box of your passions. They're already within you, but we're gonna have to do a little digging to get there and to see it. So a couple of myths to knock right off the bat. One, I'm not blank enough, right? I've said this a million times, and you can fill in whatever that blank is for you, but my guess is at least some point over the last 20 plus years of your existence, and I'm making all of you young, right? Every one of us is 22 years old today. But in the last 20 plus years of your life, my guess is at least one time you have said, I'm not smart enough, I'm not funny enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not talented enough. I'm sure you can keep going down the list of things that you have said, right? I'm not blank enough. Well, here's the truth. What you are is that you are worthy enough. So you don't have to be pretty. Like Nicola said, I put on makeup today, but a lot of times if you scroll through my videos, there's no makeup. So it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how you talk. It doesn't matter if you wear or don't wear makeup. It doesn't even matter if you actually get dressed in more than gym clothes because we're all in quarantine. None of that matters. It doesn't matter if you do or did not go to college and get a degree. It doesn't matter what your profession is at any point. You literally are still worthy enough of going through it, of pushing ahead. So that's the first one and the first myth that I'm going to bust for you today. The next one is to say, and I'm definitely guilty of this one, is I'm too busy, maybe next season, right? Maybe next year, maybe next month, maybe when summer is done, when winter is done, whatever it is I'm too busy, maybe next year, next season. Why? It's really easy to start going into a cycle of procrastinating because something else is holding us back, because something else is hard for us in the time being as well. So I literally want you to say, I'm never too busy. Like, say it out loud. I'm sure there's someone probably hearing you, but that's okay. I'm never too busy, right? If I called you and said, hey, I have a meeting for us to go see the cast of This Is Us. We're all going to get coffee, dinner, whatever. We get to go to the premiere, walk the red carpet at the Emmys, whatever it is with the cast of This Is Us or whatever your favorite TV show is. I guarantee you it would magically fit into your schedule, right? So you're never too busy for the things that are important for you. Yes, emergencies happen to all of us. That's not what I'm talking about. You're never too busy. So I'm too busy, maybe next season. Let's cross that one off the list. Now, sometimes you just have to say no. And so it's a little bit sweeter to say, sorry, sweetie, I'm busy. That is different. I'm not going to talk to you about lying. That's on you. But if you are saying, maybe I'm too busy because I have to wait for the kids to be older. I'm too busy because I have to wait for XYZ to happen. Yeah, I get it. But you choose your priorities and you decide, what are you moving forward on and what are you going? My phone's up here, by the way, so when I look up, it's because I'm checking to see if your comments are coming in or if you ask any questions. The last one that I want to kind of knock out is to say, I don't know. You know why Google exists and why it's the #1 search engine and why it's not even the first search engine, but it became the best? Because we literally started typing in how to fill in the blank, right? How to. I don't know. That's okay. You don't have to. I don't know. That's okay. You can Google it. Everything out there is literally on Google. You don't even have to go to college anymore. And trust me, I have an education. I take pride in my education. I think for certain things, you absolutely need to get an education. You are not doing surgery on me if you are not a board certified surgeon. Go get your education for a lot of things. But you want to learn how to start a business? Google it. You want to learn how to do something with your kids? Google it. You have no idea what to do with all the extra time on your hands during quarantine? YouTube it. There's videos out there of so many things that we get to do. So literally, things that we're not going to say anymore. I'm not blank enough. I'm too busy and I don't know. I know it's hard. And I'm not saying that anything that we're talking about this week is going to be like an easy, no big deal kind of thing. But we do also have to say, I'm going to try. Marie Forleo wrote in her book, Everything is Figureoutable. And I will always give credit where credit is due. So Marie Forleo wrote in her book, said, can't equals won't. So when you say I can't, it literally means I won't. I won't try. I'm not going to bother. So sometimes to my kids, when they ask me something, I'm like, nah, mommy can't. And that's because mommy's not going to try. But I want you to also kind of think about, where are you saying those things? If you don't know, ask Google, ask Siri, whoever it is that helps you out. Oh, and I just activated Ask Google on my phone by doing that. But literally, if you need help with something, you can check it out and get that information as well. So what exactly is a life passion, right? The literal definition of it is that a passion is an intense driving or overmastering feeling of conviction. And so literally, a lot of times you can't describe it in words because it's more of a feeling and a sensation, but it gives you a deeper meaning when you have your passion. When you know your passion and you know your purpose and you know your calling, you are able to walk in it, to move forward, and to do it with such a clear mind that everything else stops to matter. All the fears can go away. The need for perfection diminishes. The comparison to all the other people goes down and goes away. Why? Because you say, I know my passions and I know where I'm going. And I'm not going to give you a history lesson on passion, but Webster's Dictionary is there if you want to look it out. But I want to look it up. If you have your workbook, you're going to go through some journaling exercises. And like I said at the beginning, if you don't have it, subscribe tonight and I will send out another copy of the workbook. Or if you subscribed after I sent out the initial one, I will send another. I did see a message of someone saying they didn't get it. I will check your email address and make sure that you get it later tonight. But there's some journaling activities, and you won't need it for the actual workshop, but there's some journaling activities for you to go through, and that's going to help you kind of discover your passion on a deeper level. But I want to have you go back to when you were 14 years old. And we're not doing any trauma, so don't shut me off. Like, we're not talking about trauma at all. But when you were 14 years old, what did you like doing? Did you like singing? Did you like dancing? Did you do theater? Did you like cooking or baking? Did you like art or I was going to say drawing, but I guess that's a form of art. Did you like math? Did you like, I'm drawing a blank on what things are, but what were your hobbies? When you were 14 years old, what were your hobbies? 14. I know, I'm asking you to jump way back into the archives here. But when you were 14 years old, what did you like doing? Was it shopping? Was it hanging out with friends? Depending on how old you are, was it using your cell phone? When I was 14, we were still using AIM. Does anyone remember AIM? AOL Instant Messenger. That was the original Facebook Messenger way back in the day. But do you remember, like, what were those things that you enjoyed doing? Were you running home to play video games? I know another thing that we did when I was growing up was you ran, like, not run home literally, but you got home in time to watch, like, TRL on MTV. I don't even know if that show still exists. That's how long it's been for me. I don't know cable anymore. But, like, the things that you enjoyed doing when you were growing up. Start writing down a list of what were your hobbies. What were your favorite pastimes? Do you still have any now? Do you still dance? Do you still bake? Do you do photography? Do you actually like painting? Is it still numbers? There's a lot with numbers. What were your passions? If you actually remember what you were excited about when you were 14, I want you to drop it into the comments for me. Here's the other thing. A lot of people go, oh, well, I'm a grown-up now. I can't have hobbies. No, that's not true. Not true at all. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter how old you are. You are always allowed to start hobbies and to discover something new and to try something new, or to say, hey, that always looks really cool to me over there. I want to try it out now and see what that's like. Maybe you should talk to your friends and your family, whether they have been in your life most of your life or just a couple of years. Say, hey, what do you think I'm good at? What do you think is something that I should try that's new? And I know this isn't the most fun thing, but I want you to be honest with yourself. What are the things that matter most to you? No one knows their passions? I didn't get any comments on it yet. Really? Come on. I know you know your passions. Do you like helping other people? Do you like creating, designing, decorating? Trying to give you a few ideas. One more thing I want to throw at you. Quick activity that we're going to do. So if you have a piece of paper, this will be super helpful. If you did not have to worry about paying bills, taking care of children, if you didn't have to worry about paying bills, paying back student loans, if you had no responsibilities in life, If money was no object, what is the one thing that you would spend your time doing? Debbie said ministry, baking, piano. Multiple passions. I like it. If you had no responsibilities in life, what is the one thing that you would spend 15 hours a day doing with your time? 15 hours a day. If there were no bills, if it was not about making money, if it was not about caring for others in some way, right? Like kids or parents or, sick loved ones, any of that, like those things are not on the table right now. Where would you spend the most of your time? Think about that. If there were no responsibilities in the world, where would you spend your time? All right. If you can't think of your hobbies from your childhood, and you can't think of where you would spend your time if there were no responsibilities, I literally am going to give you a free coaching call. You have to message me before Wednesday at noon, whatever time you live in, so pretty much all day Wednesday if you live in a different time zone. But message me. I will give you a free 30-minute conversation that we're going to talk about your passions, and we're going to dive in deep about really what you can find and what you can do and what your passions are. Nicola said traveling. Charlene said teaching and mentoring. All right. Again, if there were no a cabin on a lake. Yeah, Debbie, can I come with you? I want to go to a cabin on a lake. That sounds awesome. There's so many things that you can do, and being in nature is so calming and soothing for the mind. I want to give you guys a little bit of history on why, one of the reasons that we kind of suppress our I'm drawing a blank now, but Nicola said invite me to, Debbie. One of the things that we all kind of do is that we start looking about checking the next box, about being successful, about seeking the next opportunity, and we forget all the things that we can be grateful for. So that's the next thing. I want to talk about gratitude. If you think back to all the things that you used to enjoy, for the most part, you probably didn't have bills, so it was easier to think of those things. You didn't have responsibilities or anyone to take care of, so it was easy to focus on the things that you liked most. And then we grow up, and we have to be responsible. And if your parents or your loved ones were anything like mine, then you were told, hey, well, you're not a kid anymore. It's time to be more responsible. When are you going to leave that blank behind so you can be an adult now? Anyone hear that before? Yes, got one. All right, cool. I've heard that several times. You can drop a like, just hit that little thumbs up if you've heard that before. Like, yeah, you at some point you have to leave that behind and grow up. So for me, I did performing arts my entire life growing up. I did like literally on the stage, musical theater, loved it. Started when I was 3, went right through college. However, part of college, I actually in high school as well, I started doing hair, makeup, and costumes. So I started learning the tech side of theater as well. Was a stage manager, costume designer for films. I did casting, learned all the different technical things in the back end of the house that actually make a play look cool for the people that are on stage. So I continued that through college. One of the things I learned through college was actually being a front of house manager. And so you actually, as the front of house manager, you actually set the ambiance of what that lobby looks like that prepares an audience for what the stage is going to be like. And so not every theater does this, but if you've ever been to a Broadway show, right? Like if you've seen Waitress on Broadway, you literally smell pies as you walk into the theater because you know that you're going to see something that's about baking at a diner. If you've been to The Lion King, everything is earth tones because they want you to feel like you're on a safari. And so although I was never on Broadway or did any type of like professional theater, the theater that I did, we would set the stage. So as soon as you enter that building, you would start to get the essence and the ambiance of the play that you were about to see. So I learned all about interior design, event design. But when I graduated college, I grew up and I did the corporate thing, and I followed the rules and worked hard to get my promotion, and that's all I focused on. And by the time I graduated school, quite frankly, I had like I graduated and I had my son 2 weeks apart, so real close together. But it was like, all right, well, you're a mom now, you need to be responsible, and adults don't do X and adults don't do Y. And I can't tell you how many people, I think they were trying to encourage me, but not really. We're constantly saying things like, well, now that you're a grown up, you have to blank. And what I left behind was my creativity. Everything that I learned about theater for the last 20 years of my life was completely out the window and off the table because I now had to be a grown-up, right? And so I went on that path and I followed what they said, and I was being the mature adult, and I was paying my bills and I was taking care of my son, absolutely. But I lost that creative piece of me. And literally because I had lost creativity, which was 20 years of my identity prior, I was just shrinking and shriveling into a little hole. And it took a lot to figure out what was missing and what was going on and how to get there, and a lot of processing and coaching and conversations and therapy and a lot of other stuff, right? But eventually I figured out that I needed to bring that creativity back to the surface in order to be excited about life. And so being creative is my passion, and helping other people actually dig up their creativity and bring it to life is my passion. And so I became a wedding and event planner and an event designer. And so I knew all the logistics, right? Because front of house of theater, I knew how to get in and out and keep the time moving, and intermission is 8 minutes, but people need to be able to cycle through all of this, get to the bathroom and refreshments, and still get back in their seat because we got to fundraise while we're keeping that show up, right? So there's so many things, pieces to the puzzle that you have to think about. And if you've never done theater, then find the example that does apply for you. But I became an event designer because that was the world I knew, of setting up the theme, taking a vision, bringing it to life, and getting it done in such a timely and efficient efficient method, under budget, right? Because every bride has a certain budget for her wedding, and I had to do the same thing with theater. So I loved being an event and wedding planner. But what I realized is that a lot of the women that I worked with for bridal showers, for baby showers, and for weddings, they would always say, well, what happens after the big day? What happens next? There's always so much more, right? They were working so hard for that big event, which was great, and we would always pull it off under budget and with the time and make it perfect. But then what happens and what's next? And I said, well, what are your passions? What excites you? As excited as I am about your centerpieces, I want you to be excited about life after marriage and life after baby number 2 and all those kinds of things. And so that's when I realized my true passion was the relationships I was building during that event planning. So that's what led me to where I am and speaking with you all now. So again, think back. What did you love doing when you were 14? What is it that you're really good at? Because your passions have been there all along. That journey has been within you all along. And so it's so possible for you to get what you want out of life. And that is what we're going to do. So Wednesday, when we come back here, you're literally going to be able to dig in and dig deep. We are going to go way deep. I told you today was the appetizer. Wednesday is the meat and the potatoes. Wednesday is the entree that we come back for. But I wanted you to get an idea of what we're going into. So I hope you all enjoyed this. If you have questions, I will stay on a little bit. If you want to know more, if you want to start that process, let me know. If you don't have the workbook, I'll drop the link in this so that you can, if you just scroll through the group after you watch this video, I'll drop, you can register tonight and the workbook will go out in a little bit. Hello. Oh, Lay, how are you? Sorry, I couldn't tell who that was as well. And thank you, Debbie. But if you don't know your passions, let's dig deep and let's find that out, because your passions lead you to your purpose. And your purpose is what fulfills you and what allows you to wake up and get joy every single day. It's what helps you get out of bed without needing 17 cups of coffee. If you watched my Sunday Spark video yesterday, I literally talked about how I actually used to drink like 7 to 10 cups of coffee a day. And once I was rejuvenated, once I was excited about my passions and those were back in my life, I still drink coffee. Please don't get me wrong. Coffee is still very sacred and still my love language. However, I only need like 2 cups a day instead of 7 to 10. So, and when I say coffee, like my parents are Jamaican, like real thick, Cafe Bustelo wasn't strong enough type of coffee is what I was drinking, as well. Espresso shots, like I'm talking cups of espresso shots that I was having. And so for you to become a healthy person, for you to be able to shift mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and even financially, it all starts with knowing your passions, because your passions are going to excite you and they're going to give you that motivation to wake up in the morning and to keep going. So I hope you all enjoy this opening session. I will be back again Wednesday at 6:30 for the next live session. However, I will stay on. So anyone that has questions, go ahead and throw them in the comments. I am going to stay on so that I can answer any of your questions as well. And again, if you have not subscribed, this is like, if you're watching the replay, this is when you get to exit unless you want to ask questions or to stick around for that. But if you scroll down to a previous post, I believe earlier today, actually, there's a link for you to subscribe to get your workbook, which has all of the journaling prompts for all 3 days, so that even if you're not live, you can work your way through all of this to get what you need. So I'm going to start scrolling and see if there's questions. All right, so I'll give it a couple minutes, see if your questions come in. There will be a Q&A thread for you to post your questions in there as well. Debbie, thank you. Thank you for joining. I'm glad you enjoyed it. There's more to come, so I hope you get a chance to come back Wednesday. Again, if you're not able to catch any of these sessions live, the replay will stay up for quite a bit. I haven't exactly decided when I'm going to take them down, but definitely all of this week and next week for sure. And we'll see how much longer they stay up into like the middle or end of May. Maybe it depends on how many comments keep coming in. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I'll stay on a little bit if any of you have any questions. But if not, I will post. There will be 2 posts that you'll see tonight. So one is for questions and answers that continue, and then the other one is for reflection. And those will both continue. I will hop in every couple of hours to make sure I'm responding to every single one. If you think it's been too long and I haven't responded, tag me in the post and I will make sure. You can tag either Kristen or Kristen Edwards Coaching, either profile, and I'll make sure that I get back to every single comment as well. If you don't feel comfortable posting your question in the group or sharing it here, you can message me privately. Again, I'm spending this whole week dedicated to getting back to you. If you still feel like even after this session, you don't know how to find your passion and to dig deep, I will offer you this week only. So you have to message me before noon on Wednesday, whatever time zone you live in, before noon on Wednesday, I will give you a free 30-minute conversation. We don't have to have the conversation before Wednesday, but we need to schedule it by Wednesday. Free 30-minute conversation for us to dig deep and find your actual passion. Everything that we do this week, and honestly in the future of this group, stems around our passions, our goals, and our dreams. So I do want to make sure that you know what that is. And if you're like, I have a passion for fashion, like that's a thing. Like we can talk about that. If you have a passion for hair and makeup, that's a thing. We can talk about that. Like I'm not saying that your passion needs to be, starting some really intense like bookkeeping business. Like that could be your thing as well if you like numbers as much as I do. But whatever it is. And I do get this question a lot, so I will throw this in here. Knowing your passion and making time for your passion does not mean you have to quit your day job. I'll say that one more time. Knowing your passion and living out your passion does not mean that you have to quit your day job. You can quit your day job. You can transition what you do for a living, but it does not mean you quit your day job. It does not mean that you neglect your kids. It does not mean that you are not able to love your life. Knowing your passion allows you to love your life. Sneak peek into what we're going to do Wednesday is actually we're going to talk a little bit about time management and how you fit those passions into your schedule, because trust me, I'm busy too, but I'm not too busy for my passions. So that's pretty much it. I don't see any questions coming through, so I will let you all go back to your evening. Those reflection thread and the Q&A thread will be coming momentarily, and then later tonight I'll give a little bit of time because I know people will watch the replay before I send out the workbook, but that'll be sent out via email if you register for it, and you will have the opportunity to journal personally for as long as you want. It's yours to keep forever and ever. So honestly, even if you're not doing these sessions live, having the workbook is a great way to kind of do your journal prompts as well. But that's pretty much it. So I don't see any other questions coming up. So I hope you ladies have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.